Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 364 at scavengerlife.com.
I'd like to thank everybody for the happy birthdays. Very nice, very friendly. People I don't know, have never heard from kind of popped out, so it's always interesting to kind of get a sense that there are people out there, you know.
People listening.
Yeah, I mean, really just there's maybe 20 to 40 people who kind of we talk to online.
On the forum,
on the
online,
forum, who are kind of
email.
really active. Other than that, I think most people go about their lives, so it's interesting to kind of hear people pop up.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jay.
I thought it was interesting. So my mom died 10 years ago or so, I think. It was nice that your mom called me up and said happy birthday.
She did.
She's like my new mom.
I know. She did call you up. It was cute.
Yeah.
I know. That was nice.
I like your mom.
Yeah.
This is my thought of the day.
Yes. Jay's Thought Corner.
Kind of because we've been going through the past week has been a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
I think anytime you work for it yourself and you're depending on things to happen, it can be stressful.
Yes.
Okay, here's the thing that I've learned.
Yes.
Things don't have to go wrong, Ryan.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So things can go wrong, but they don't have to, And if something does go wrong, then we just deal with that, But often if we just plan, things often just turn out okay.
Right.
And
yes.
I think that the only reason why I bring this thing up is that as we grow older together, all the worry of something that hasn't happened is a thing that seems to ruin our time.
Right.
It's the thing that, and I know it happens to, it's me too, it wakes me up in the middle of the night, keeps me up, I'm just like worried. There was some article a while ago that people always talk about, people who were on there who were about to die were asked, what are your biggest things that it's regretful of? And what one of the top things was they are sorry that they worried so much in their life, Right.
And they never say they regret working.
Right.
Working too much.
Right.
Oh, I wish I worked more. I don't know how to phrase that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Sure.
Similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. So I think it's interesting that you say this because it's like you can picture things as going wrong, right? Which I constantly do. Or I constantly am like worried about a situation. Multiple work situations happen like that this week where you're like, what's going to happen? What's the answer? What do I do? It's so hard to let go of that and be like, well, there are things you can do to, try to make progress on that. And there's like certain things you have no control over. So you just have to be like, I don't know.
It's a fine balance between being attentive and thinking ahead to see any problems that could happen, to be prepared and to prevent those things to happen. But it's a whole other thing when, I allow myself to just get really worried about something. Yeah. Things haven't, like someone hasn't told me anything bad, but I'm assuming they're just going to. Or someone who I don't really know well, I'm just assuming has really bad intentions and is hostile and is thinking bad things about me. And that when I meet them tomorrow, it's going to be a really bad thing. It's like...
Normally, that's not the truth.
That's not helpful. Yeah. And
or just obsessing over what about this? What about this?
So I don't know. It's good for us to talk about that to each other because those are the things that we'll have these arguments sometimes, and we're not really arguing about
each other.
What we're actually verbalizing. Right. It's all coming from fear and stress and things that we're not talking about.
Oh, I'm glad it's not just me.
No, of course not.
I'm glad it's you too. Jay worries about things.
Sure.
Not just Ryan.
Do you think that I don't worry about things?
I think you're very good at deflecting the worry. So most of the time, it doesn't seem like it. So
I don't think deflecting is the right word.
I don't know.
I think that. Honestly, this is where I think the difference of our age really shows. Sometimes is that I'm a little older than you.
Yeah, a little bit, tiny bit.
6 years older.
Yeah.
I feel like I just had a little bit of more experience to have gone through some crap.
Yeah, that's true.
And that now I kind of know, like, oh, I shouldn't be worried about this. Or
yeah.
like, it's not worth it. Or even if the nightmare that I imagine happens, it's still going to be okay, you know?
Right. Like, there are options, generally. Like, if this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do this. Like, you know, that's all you can do ever with any situation.
And I think that's one way we deal it's with this thing of being concerned and worried about things is we verbalize what the nightmare is.
Right. What's the worst case scenario? Like, and if that happens, what do you do?
Yeah. Like,
you know, with any business, with any situation.
Like, what are you, you know, so tell me what your worst nightmare is. And then we say what the worst nightmare is. And then we say, well, that's kind of crazy, you know?
Right,
like
sure. That's extreme.
That probably wouldn't, it never happen.
But.
And then if these things do happen, then this is how we would handle it. Or,
right, exactly. So. No, you know what? And it is, look, it's really good to talk those things out, because then you're like, oh, first of all, I was holding it in and it was affecting my whole, like, we don't have like a specific situation this week really, but it's like all these little tiny little things.
I feel like we've been working on a secret project.
Well, we are, yes.
And it's new to us.
Right.
And we don't know what to expect. It's not in our experience.
Right.
And we've had to deal with things that we weren't sure with what was going to happen. But I think we handled everything we did.
Yeah.
It's this week we just told ourselves, let's take it step by step. Don't think like 100 steps away.
Which I classically have always done. I am like 10 steps ahead, worried about what's going to happen.
1 million steps ahead.
I'm like so far ahead, and the world is crumbling. And so, you know, it's really good to be like, okay, what's the next thing we do? We wait to hear from this person.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, anytime.
You know, it's like...
So over this past 10 years that we've just kind of been our own people, we've worked on our own.
Yeah.
Anytime we've thought about, maybe we should just get jobs. Oh. It's because it's that, like, thing where you're like, well, but if I just work for somebody else, I just won't have these worries anymore.
Which is so untrue.
I'll just show up and they'll just tell me what to do.
And it's
just
not
like,
true.
tell me what to do. I go to a meeting. They're like, okay, do this thing.
It's worse.
I'm like, that's fine. Give me a paycheck, you know. And it's so much different when you're having, you know, we're basically making up our life.
Right,
like,
exactly.
We're just making this up.
Right.
You know, and so it's so funny to me when people come on a forum or they send us a message and they're like, you know, I want to quit my job, I want to do this, and they're like, but I'm worried about all these things. They want us to tell them it's all going to be okay, and that they'll have all the security that they had is with the job and the income. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it could all fail.
Yeah,
in an incredible way.
Right,
but.
So far, it hasn't.
It probably won't.
Well, that's the thing too. If you also have had, you know, other experiences, you're like, okay, generally, worst case scenario, nightmare situation doesn't happen.
Right.
Like eBay failing, you know.
But even if like the nightmare happens, and that's why it's good to verbalize it between us. It's often not as bad as I think.
Right.
Like, why don't we say eBay just is destroyed, you know?
Right. Like you can't log on to ebay.com.
Whatever. Like again. They're like, yeah, we don't like this company anymore.
Turn the server off.
Turn it off. Right. And we have no more. We would be okay. You know, like we would figure it out.
It would suck.
Because we've, you know, saved money, we have other things going on, you know. And you would assume that there would be somewhere else to sell all the things we sell at. All
right. So you
hundreds of other places to sell at.
Sure,
you know?
You try. Yeah.
You know, it'd be a pain in the
it would suck.
Focus, but,
it would suck, but you're like, you have to
be careful your language.
Hey, you said tookus.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good topic. I like that topic. Yep. We will be able to talk about our project soon.
And then the other thing before we talk about just like the very specific stuff about eBay is, you know, we've been the past couple of podcasts, you know, we were like about not spending so much, conspicuous consumption, and just that's so important for us as our lives as scavengers. And people were being, I think, again, we're going to get into the weeds here.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear. People are allowed to buy nice things and enjoy them.
Right.
You know?
Of course they are. This is America.
Right. No, but I mean, also, like, we buy nice things and enjoy that. You know, for me, conspicuous consumption is often that act of buying, and the buying is the addiction. You know? It's like the good feeling comes from the purchase. And then, once it happens, I need to then buy again to get that good feeling again. So it's not
that's part of it.
So it's not the object itself that brings satisfaction. It's just the buying, and that's probably why it's many of us have a business, because there seems to be, like shoes. It seems like there are so many Americans who are buying pretty expensive shoes, wear them 2 or 3 times,
and then give them away,
and then they donate them. And we go, someone goes to a thrift store and is like, these are like $100 shoes that have been worn twice. What is going on?
Right. Someone's like, I don't like the color.
And this happens again and again and again, because obviously the person bought them and wasn't satisfied. Like, it's not about the actual item, it's just about that joy of buying.
No, that's part of it, definitely.
We buy nice things.
We do? What do we buy?
Like a vacuum.
Right, yes. But I have said this before. The vacuum is a tool.
Right, we buy like a Dyson vacuum. Right. Although we do buy it, it's refurbished, and
on
so
eBay,
it's much cheaper than if you buy it new.
Yes.
But it's an expensive tool. Like, we could easily buy a cheaper tool, but it's super helpful.
It's not as good.
And I touch it at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Or more. Sometimes I'm vacuuming almost every day.
And that's the difference between cheap and frugal.
Yes.
You know, if you're cheap, the whole idea is you're just trying to it's minimize costs.
Right.
You know, so did you imagine that the extreme of that is the man who lives in squalor but has like $1 million stuffed
in his mattress. That's my
mattress.
dad.
Right.
Like, my dad is a cheap man.
Like, that's someone who's...
That's what he is.
Okay. I'm not going to get in the middle of that. Yeah. So it's about, like, if you're not enjoying life, you're just, like, for some reason, you're being cheap.
You cannot spend
and there's nothing on the other end.
Right.
Being frugal is about maximizing value.
Yes.
So that's where we're willing to spend money, but we're trying to get the most quality for the least amount of money. So
exactly.
So we buy like a nice set of knives to cook with, because I cook all the time.
We cook for ourselves at home.
Awesome set of knives. They were not cheap, but these are my knives that
forever.
Yeah.
And we bought them on eBay.
Instead of buying like, a $10 thing at a Walmart and then they break every couple of years and I gotta buy more of them. Or like when we fly on airplanes. I don't like to fly.
Right.
So I like to maximize its value by upgrading the best deal possible for the most comfort.
Right. So it's not business class.
Security.
But it's like a little more leg room and you get to board first.
And I know exactly where I sit up front, all that stuff. So anyway, it's like using your money wisely. Right. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but it's sort of like, it's like the Dyson. Yeah. It's like our coffee maker. We spent $100 on a $900 coffee maker. I thought that was crazy, but now I'm like, that coffee maker brings me so much joy every single day. Yeah.
We don't live in a city where you can buy gorgeous coffee at the corner coffee shop, so we can do that at home. It's things like that where you're like, that makes my life better every day. It makes me want to get up and work every day.
It's really...
That's $100 well spent.
Right. It's a maximizing value.
It maximized it.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about eBay specifically.
Yeah, let's...
We are actually recording this a little bit early. It's Friday today. Normally we record this on Sunday.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be away for the
She's traveling weekend. A little bit.
So we just thought we'd do this early. So
yes.
That will be, it's reflected in our numbers.
Right.
People were talking about this, and it's noticed it too.
Okay.
As a person that sells on eBay, I am researching what things sell at on eBay. And they've changed how that is now. Haven't you seen this yet?
I mean, I've listed this week, and done research, but I didn't. So explain this to me.
I don't know if it's site wide, but I've seen this. So I'll search for an item, and it says it's sold. I'll click on it, and then it shows me an active item that I didn't click on.
Is it a similar item?
Sometimes, but sometimes it's kind of not. And there'll be a thing up top that says the item you're searching for is sold. And then here's a similar item it's for sale. But in the the item you're searching for is sold, there's a link that you have to click on again. Then it shows you the sold item. I mean, it makes sense in the sense
they're like, we want you to buy stuff.
eBay is trying to push, yeah.
I also wonder if, so just a side note here, have you ever had people message you, I'm asking other sellers here, and I've had this happen, an item that's sold, and they're asking you questions, and you're like, this sold last week, because they're confused about what they're looking at.
Right.
Now, I wonder if that's part of it.
I don't know. I mean...
You don't think so?
It's maybe, but I mean, I think eBay has always done the best job of any site out there to show you sold data.
Oh, absolutely.
And they were even better a while ago, where they would let you search a user and see it's what that person bought and sold, and they would be very specific.
Now you can search what a user sold, but you can't search what people buy,
right?
Which was fantastic to see what other people bought.
And and it's so much better than Etsy. They don't show you the price that people sell
you
at.
There are tools, yeah. But
I know there's a little, a way to kind of hack it.
Yeah.
But Etsy doesn't do that. Amazon even doesn't. They give you
Amazon does.
They give you the price of what is trending.
Right.
Or the suggested price, but I don't know if they really show you what things have sold at in the past.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just hope that eBay doesn't take that away, because that really is what makes eBay so powerful. And since they bought Terapeak,
right,
which was this third-party company that, for
shows
some
historical
reason,
data for years and years
of eBay, I don't know why they haven't done it yet. Why don't they just let eBay people see data going back for a long time? And Terapeak had charts and a graph. Just take that and put it on eBay.
So we've suggested this because they bought Terapeak. Wouldn't it be great to give either people who have stores that access, or make it in quotes, a third-party app that you turn on in eBay for a small charge.
Right. I mean,
because that's really good data for us.
Those are the kind of things, and these seller updates where eBay's always tweaking things and changing things. It's just why not do something like that? That's really, like a helpful thing.
And it's really powerful, like we say, in being able to price your stuff, especially vintage stuff. You're like, I've never seen anything like this. Someone sold this maybe back in 2012. That kind of research and data and, price information's gold.
I mean, it's just so weird. I mean, eBay has that data. Yeah. Just give it to people.
Yeah,
and maybe it doesn't need to go back a decade, but give people 12 months data.
Right, a year.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing is free returns. So this is something that eBay is trying to push now.
Right.
I think it's official just about right now.
Yeah, I think so.
If you want to have top rated seller plus, which means if you want to have the 10% off your
top rated, top rated seller plus.
So confusing.
I know, it's super confusing.
So we turned on free returns basically on everything.
I just turned it on.
We were like,
every item.
If we're going to do the experiment, let's just do it on big items, huge paintings. So right now, someone could buy a big painting from us.
Yeah, and return it.
We ship it to them for $50, and they're like, it doesn't really fit. I'm sending it back. We would have to eat the shipping back. I mean, that technically could happen right now. Yeah. I don't know why we're doing that, but why not?
We're trying it.
So we've had it on for a month. Just this week, we've got our first 2 people who are sending something back.
One on one store, one on the other.
Right. And, the reasons are just it
didn't fit. I didn't like the color.
Yeah, I don't like it. So I think we're going to eat about $15-ish in a shipping cost just for that thing.
Right.
And Here's the thing. We definitely aren't selling any more than we have in the past.
Right.
And this is the issue. You know, eBay's like trying to tell people, like, if you turn these things on, it's like a big plus, and buyers will come and buy more. Or I guess they don't say this, but the hope is anyone that has free returns turned on, eBay will push us up in a search.
Right.
So we hopefully will sell more. Right. So far, that hasn't kind of happened yet.
I mean, but it's been such a short amount of time.
I know, but that's the thing. If we're going to eat, it's more shipping fees, then it needs to be balanced off, and it's more sales. Now, Katie Scott,
who's on the forum,
a seller on our a forum who sells mainly clothes. She says she's turned it off.
She's turning it off.
She says she's had it on for like a month, and she said she's had 7 items returned to her in 30 days, and 6 more are pending.
Wow, that's a lot.
13 items.
And she's like, I have to pay for all these return shipping.
Now, she on top of that is like, like a lot of people that sell clothes, I believe has free shipping turned on. God. So when someone returns an item, she eats the shipping both ways. So that means like she may be, even if it's just a light item, it could be $10 an item, right? Like back and forth.
Yeah, sure. Depending on where it's going, what it is.
So I don't know. I mean, this kind of reminds me what eBay did 5 years ago or so, when they were like, everyone should ship for free.
And so many people were like, no.
We tried it for a short amount of time.
Just on light items.
Our sales didn't go up, and it just seems like a pain in the butt, because like we're...
Yeah, it was a pain. We raised the price to cover the shipping. And we just said,
nope, let's just stop it. And I feel like most people don't ship for free, except for like, those really highly competitive items.
The commodity electronics and stuff like that.
Or people that do clothes who are just like, man, they're churning and burning that,
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder if it's going to be the same thing. We're just like, people, it's like us are going to try it. It's going to be like, there's no benefit. So we'll lose the 10% off our final value fees.
But 10%'s not that much. So you're kind of like, 10%'s fine, but to work so hard to get that is kind of like, without a boost in sales, because... Yeah, I'm just like, really...
Yeah, 10% for us is, between $100 and $300.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it depends on the month.
Yeah, it depends on the month. I don't even know, but...
Right.
So anyway, I don't know. It's just... Someone was saying that, too, on the forums. It's just like, eBay is getting to where it's getting so structured that it must be kind of weird for people brand new to eBay who are coming to, be a seller, that it's just like, it's a wall of stuff that you have, all these hoops you have to jump through. And I know they're doing it because they're trying to make buyers feel better and make it more, protect people who buy.
Right. So one of our returns was on our second store, our smaller store. We have free returns. We have hassle-free returns. We have all that stuff turned on. And she still couldn't figure out how to do the return.
Right.
She couldn't figure out how to print the label.
Right.
She didn't understand how she was going to get reimbursed, because now she went to the post office and paid for it herself for a lot more. And we were just like, how much more? And we were talking her through it. It's like, I don't know how much more I can do to make this be easy. It reminds me of a place like Craigslist, where... there's almost no structure and no rules.
Right.
It's all like...
It's basically post anything that you want, and it's up to you and the person to figure it out. Anything, scams can happen.
Yeah, like...
It's on you. And then there's eBay that's like trying to make every little piece of it protected. And so...
Right, sure.
I don't know. It is starting to feel like eBay's going a little bit too far. But... yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I feel like this whole free returns thing, they're going to back off on it. Or they're just going to leave it and people will be like, fine, I won't be top rated seller plus.
Someone did come on the forum when we were talking about all this and had been like, guys, I just want to let people know that I've been selling on eBay for a long time.
Right.
I don't have a big store. And I basically do no returns. I don't ship for free. and it's fine. You know,
eBay will make them take a return
if it's items not as described, and the person's like, well, if someone doesn't feel like I described it right, then I work it out. I give them a refund
or whatever,
but I do a good job and take good photos, so it doesn't happen very often. So it is true. Maybe everyone, if they're worried about this, us in there too, if we're concerned about it, just step back. Like, let eBay keep on going. Let that bus keep on going forward, and we can still sell on eBay. It just doesn't need to be jumping.
Although, isn't eBay, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure plenty of people will, isn't eBay turning off the ability to not accept returns? Or is that not true?
I don't know.
I thought they were like, you have to do 30-day returns.
I think, but I think that they do it where only if you want these benefits, top-rated seller and blah, blah, blah.
That's what it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, sure. I know. No, I said on the forum last week, at this point in time, I'm honestly so confused. Yeah. Like, I thought I knew all the rules, and now I'm like, I don't really know.
And, we're normally, look, we're on board. eBay's good. They give us a lot of, views. I mean, it's just like a great place.
It's a great marketplace.
But with these updates now 3 times a year, it's becoming a bit much.
Yeah, you're
and
what is
just eBay has to remember that we are a business. This is not a hobby; it's a business for us. And having to change its business so often becomes an issue. Yeah. It's just
you're keeping track of the rules.
Do it once a year. Just change it once a year and we're okay. But if we're having to change it every 3 or 4 months, it's it becomes a pain in the butt.
Or it's if you're going to have updates and tweaks every 3 months, it reminds me of the smartphone. On your smartphone, every week I'm looking at what apps have to be updated. And it's almost all of them. You're developers make tweaks all the time. Fine. But if it's little tiny changes to make eBay better for every, quarter or whenever they're doing the updates, fine. But these are big things.
Well, I'm talking about the things that it make us have to switch policies and change how we do things, change how we think about how we price things, change things about how we think about how we ship things. I mean, these are just it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I'm not in the camp of eBay's trying to destroy us. No. I know they're trying to make it a safer marketplace and they're trying to compete and blah, blah, blah. But, come on.
But come on. It's funny to hear you say that because...
I know, well...
it's rare for you to just be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
With these rules.
Okay, we'll talk a bit about our store its numbers. So for 5 days, it's been pretty good. We've sold $1,200 in 5 days.
That's fine by me.
So over $200.
Because it's Friday right now that we're recording this.
It's definitely not soft. It's not slow. It's exactly, for us, it feels exactly how it should be for the summertime.
Right.
This is what we expect.
It feels good.
And it's great, This week, in our second store, we made $140 on 3 items.
Hey, that's more than last week.
Yeah. So one thing that changed from a week ago is that we really haven't sold anything over $100. It's been a week of 20 to 30 to it's $40 sales.
Yeah.
We sold one thing for $100, and that was an Insane Clown Posse hat.
Look, here's my theory. About what? Because I've sold a couple of those in the last few days, in the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. I think the Gathering of the Juggalos is in the summer.
Juggalos!
So people are buying their stuff.
It's pouring Fanta on themselves.
It's not Fanta, it's Faygo.
Faygo! What are magnets?
What? How do they work? Yep.
One of the Insane Clown Posse, they have, I guess, a song where part of it is
don't believe in magnets.
Well, they're how does magic, how do magnets work? It's like magic, and
it is like magic, but it's also science.
Some people did this funny video where they put on the Insane Clown Posse face makeup and stuff.
Did they explain?
But they were young scientists, they're at schools, and they showed up to an event, and they had like whiteboards, and they were like explaining to juggalos how magics work. Like, actually, it's like this, So just a couple weird things we sold was ephemera.
Yes.
We sold a 2-page typed piece of paper that had a list of journalists from a World War One.
World War One, 1919. It was, I don't know where, you know what, it's funny, this list of journalists was just stuffed in a book. Like, we had this huge lot of books, and it was just stuffed in there. And it was a list of, like, correspondents that were allowed to go to this peace meeting, this World War One peace meeting in Paris.
Yep.
It was, like, September 1919.
Yep. And it was, like, people had crossed things out. It was just, like
this person's not attending.
Notes. It was just really interesting, and it's kind of cool to think, like, there's someone out there that's maybe writing a book or something, or, like, it's...
Like, who attended this meeting?
Yeah.
Look, here's a list of who attended the meeting.
And we sold for $75.
I had it up for $125, and I got an offer of $75 from this person, actually, a couple times. And Jay got mad at me yesterday for not accepting an offer that was probably a reasonable offer on a piece of...
Just like, sometimes when there's something so random, so long tail, if you get an offer 60% or more, it's like, come on.
Just take it.
If you don't take it.
I know. So I took this offer this morning. Yeah. I was like, Jay's going to get so mad if I don't. Look, $75 for an old piece of paper, that's pretty good.
Right. And then we sold, as everyone knows probably, Kate Spade.
Kate Spade died this week.
Yep, and we sold, and I remember we sold that bag, like, immediately.
It was, like, within, like, 5 or 10 minutes after the news broke.
It wasn't one of, like, her special fancy
It was just, like,
ones.
a tote bag.
It was, like, after she sold the company, but someone bought it, so I bet a lot of Kate Spade stuff sold.
Yeah.
Okay, Scavenge of the Week. We actually didn't buy anything.
I will say that I was downtown. I popped in one of our local thrift stores and I bought some artwork.
You never do that.
Which I never do.
So interesting to me.
But I did it because you had a meeting and then we had another meeting an hour later and I had time to kill.
Killing time.
And I was like, I'm just going to pop in here, and we already went to the thrift store last week, so we kind of like shopped it, but I hadn't really looked at the artwork, and I found 3 pieces of artwork and a really nice frame that I might like turn into a mirror or something. So that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, a cool, like...
I knew you would be like...
photo of a woman.
You went, where?
Yeah.
You went to the thrift store by yourself and you bought stuff?
No, it's amazing.
I can't believe it. I'm like, yep. So proud of myself.
Yep. So customer issues, we've been talking the past couple of weeks of we just had like a wave of feedback that hasn't
neutral
been great.
And negative.
So, like in the past month or so, we've gotten 3 negative feedbacks and a neutral. Came in waves, all from people who didn't contact us, didn't return anything. They were just like, I'm unhappy. Mm-hmm. So we followed people's advice of contacting people. We called eBay. We had them all taken away.
That's 4 feedbacks
disappeared.
That I got removed.
It was actually some work.
It was some work, but you know what? Part of it was like an experiment.
Right.
For the podcast, basically, so that I could say, look, this is what I normally do. Say, these are just grumpy buyers. But this was so many in a row that I was like, I gotta try to do something.
It was getting kind of annoying. Yeah.
And I gotta try to take people's advice. Contact people. You know, one guy I contacted, and he actually realized that I sent him more of the stuff, and he actually had plenty of stuff to use, and he's like, great. And I sent him a partial refund for shipping, because he thought shipping was too high, and he changed his feedback. Yeah. So that wasn't removed.
But all the others were just calling eBay, and eBay understanding. Like, it pays to call eBay and know what the rules are better than the person who's picking up the phone.
So here's an example. I had extended handling time when we were away in April. This guy bought a jacket and said, this person took 10 days to ship this. Well, yeah, because I had extended handling. And eBay saw that, and they took it off right away.
Right. If someone is new to eBay, this is one of those things where I just feel like they wouldn't know how to handle that. But and that's probably why they go on the eBay forums and just like rage. But
look, I will tell you this: it is a pain to call eBay sometimes. I have Anchor support, which supposedly is like concierge service. They pick up right away. That's separate.
True.
That's different.
That's not true.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't really know. Is that true that Anchor support is different? Like,
yeah.
So that is confirmed.
So you always get people in the U.S.
Okay.
And they're supposed to pick up fairly quickly.
Okay.
I tried to call them this morning to ask about an issue with a return, and I had to hang up because I was on hold for so long.
Every time you've called Anchor a support, it's always an American that picks up. Okay.
It's always Utah. They're in Utah.
But it's not a necessary... But
it's not necessarily for us.
And they don't always give us what we want, for sure.
Well, they explain the rules to me, and I try to explain the rules to them. But
it's like, basically on page 5...
Oh, yes.
Paragraph 10.5...
I'm not like that. But I am like...
Well, that's what it becomes,
Well, for me, I'm just kind of like, this is what I understand.
Right.
If I'm wrong, can you tell me what the rule is so that I know for the future, so that I'm not calling you again and not knowing? So, anyway, I do have to call them back. I just hung up because I was like, I need to do other things, so...
So things we learned in the forum, we've talked about a bunch of stuff so far, but this is one. There was a seller that came on actually just today and was worried that they just sold something to somebody with
zero feedback.
And specifically, it was a little bit of a higher dollar item, $100 item. So
yeah, sure, I get it.
I think it was more expensive than what they normally sell. And this person was really worried. Like, I should probably cancel this, right?
Right.
So, my thing with them was like, I need you to verbalize the nightmare.
Just like we were talking about a minute ago.
Like the person was, was just saying, I'm just trying to do due diligence. I've heard about nightmares. I've heard about the horror stories. And I keep asking them, well, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
Because, everyone starts brand new on eBay.
Yeah.
And we were once brand new and bought an item.
Right.
And we want new people on eBay. Like, I counted... So we sold 30 items or so. 10% of our buyers made their first purchase on eBay with us. So we had like 3 people brand new.
Plus, I
love that.
We just sold a t-shirt like a minute ago. This person has 4 feedback.
Yeah.
Great, fine. Right. That's not a problem.
And like someone else said, what normally happens is there's someone online, often who is doing a Google search. Right. And the eBay item pops up. And they're like, oh, I want that item.
Yeah.
And then they join eBay just to buy that item.
Right. Or they use one of those guest ones, and there's 0 feedback on that.
And my feeling is that a new buyer probably won't return the item because they don't even know what the return policies are. Like, they're buying... I mean, they're joining eBay to buy it because they want that item.
that item, yeah.
And what complicated... The person here was like the person's from another country and is having it shipped to an American
like a shipping center
address, which probably is. And my point is that's one good thing about eBay with all their policies and stuff is that they protect us of those who sell. If you ship it to the address they give you and it's confirmed, eBay will protect you no matter what happens. And that's just why I was trying to get this person of like, okay, sketch out the horror story. Tell me what's going to happen.
Right. No, and I get that. I totally get that. But yeah, like you said, we sell to people who are 0 feedback all the time and don't have a problem. I have problem with people who have 2,000 feedback. There's no rhyme or reason to it. If someone's grumpy and they have an issue, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how much feedback they have or how long they've been on eBay.
Exactly.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay's going to laugh. But what did you cook this week? What'd you cook last night?
Okay.
That was nice of you to cook.
So lately, what we've been doing is we buy pieces of chicken.
In bulk at Costco.
In bulk.
I love drumsticks.
Cheap. And I will just barbecue up a whole barbecue full of it. We got a big barbecue, so I'll cook like 18 pieces of it.
Right.
Delicious.
We just marinate it in olive oil.
Then keep it in the fridge, and then we eat on it. We eat on it all week. So put it in chicken salads.
Yeah. So
curries.
It's
rice.
Yep. All that
sandwiches.
Stuff. Pasta. Fake pasta. So Jay's going away this weekend. And I was like, please cook those before you go, because that's like what I'm going to eat all weekend. So yeah, what I do is, the chicken thighs from Costco, they're really meaty. So I'll just because you barbecued them. I mean, it's not slathered in barbecue sauce. It's just salt, pepper, olive oil, whatever. Olive oil, it can go in anything. It can go in curry. It can go in whatever. So I break it up, take all the meat off, and then I'll throw it in so what I cooked this week was this creamy pasta sauce. It's if you Google it, it's creamy Tuscan chicken pasta. But I buy the fake low-carb noodles at Walmart.
Yep.
Pasta Zero.
Yep.
And I'm going to eat that right after I press stop.
Yep, we're going to eat on that.
I'm going to eat that. It's so good. So that's our... Oh, and I made homemade yogurt that I have to get out of the Instant Pot.
I think that is interesting. If you've talked about this, it's before, if I'm not around, if I'm away for a bit.
Yeah, a day or whatever.
You don't really cook or eat much.
But what's weird is lately I've been cooking full meals for myself where I'm you're right now eating different stuff than me. You're eating rice.
Yep.
I'm not going to eat rice.
I love the rice.
I love rice too, but I'm not going to eat it right now. And so I do actually have to make myself stuff that I'll have leftovers for, so I can just go in there and get it. So I have been doing that lately, but I don't know. I guess it's just when someone else isn't around, you're kind of
You just eat.
You just kind of snack.
Yeah.
You kind of snack and Oh, wait, sorry. This is going to go on forever, but this is my other exciting thing. So what I love to eat that is a lot of carbs is popcorn. I love popcorn. I love a salty, crunchy snack. I could eat it 3 times a day, but I found an alternative for it. And that is the roasted seaweed snacks. You can buy them at Costco, but they're kind of expensive and there's a lot of packaging. So I learned how to make my own. So you buy nori, seaweed sheets, which aren't cheap, but you can buy them in bulk.
And that's the stuff that
you make sushi out of. So it's
they're big.
They're sheets,
bland taste. It's
so they're 8 by 8, right? And they're this thin, dried seaweed that you have when you eat sushi, sushi rolls, maki rolls or whatever they're called. So I bought those myself because I was making my own sushi because there's no sushi anywhere near us. And what you do is you just spread oil on them and you fry them really quick, 15 seconds with salt, and that's it. And then you cut them into sections, and that's roasted seaweed. That's it.
It's just
you can chips. Look. Yeah, so it's like eating potato chips. It's like eating popcorn, but it's 0 carbs. So I was desperate for a solution because I love having a salty, crunchy snack after dinner, while we're watching a show. And that's my go-to.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. That's it for cooking.
Okay, let's take some calls.
Okay, you can always call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Rhonda. I've called before. I have a couple quick questions, and one is I wanted to know why you guys do schedule listings. Is it just because you have somebody doing them for you and then you get to it later? Or is there some benefit to only starting it on, say, a Sunday in the evening because there's a lot of traffic? If you could just clarify that, I'm just curious. And then also, I had a question because I added in bulk lister or bulk editing that I added a note to all my listings because I was having some surgery. So I was trying to give people a heads up that I would be not able to ship for a while. So, if you gave the dates and such when I was hoping to be back. And now I've tried to go back in and remove that and try to even replace it with something. So I do the find, and then I typed in I copy and pasted what I have on the listing. And then the replace, I tried just, space barring to see if it would just leave it blank. That didn't work. So then I tried to do just like a little short snippet of thank you, blah, blah, blah. That didn't work either. So I feel like I had a third question, but I will just call back. And thank you so much for everything you guys do. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay, the reason we do scheduled listings is to not schedule them for a certain time. That doesn't matter to me. It is because I have helpers and I want them to, have a bunch of stuff ready for me to list. And the reason we do scheduled is because drafts...
Two reasons.
Drafts are messy, and the reason is because... Number one, on the phone, you can only see 20 drafts at a time.
So after 20, then you can't actually do any more because it fills up.
So I need them to move that stuff out of drafts. Just get it out of there, and drafts are just for, temporary. The other thing we found out recently is after 20-ish days... eBay starts deleting photos off drafts.
Right, if you haven't
touched them. And sometimes, look, it takes me a little bit to get to stuff. So I need those things to be sitting in a more stable place. So that's great. They have scheduled. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
As far as going into the bulk lister and adding a note and then trying to remove it, I've had similar issues with that a long time ago when we had templates where I was trying to remove this JavaScript that was in there. It was horrible. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't know how. They do have a remove and replace type thing. You're going to have to call eBay and ask them how to do that because I do not know how to do that. I've never been able to. I've been able to add stuff, but to go back and do the find replace, I have no idea how to do that.
Hey guys, this is Britt from Indianapolis, just replying to or commenting on an episode from a couple weeks ago where somebody was talking about sending their patches or postcards or whatever in a regular sized envelope and paying for the tracking for the first class is a little bit on the expensive side, and I think it's $275 or something like that. But anyway, there is a company out there called lettertrackpro.com, and you can actually get tracking from them for the U.S. Postal Service. They have a promotion where you could try 10 listings, or not 10 listings, but 10 letters for free, and it provides a tracking number, so when the letter goes into the USPS system, it gets tracked along the way and you get an email update. You can also send the recipient updates as well by putting in their email. It doesn't work on eBay by just putting in the tracking number, but what I have done is have just given people updates on that if I don't have their email for whatever reason. But anyway, 50 of these tracking numbers is $16, and it looks like they go all the way up to 1,000 for $180. But again, you can try out 10 for free. So I just let you guys know that because that's what I mostly sell is postcards, and it helps out when I can just send tracking for 32 cents as opposed to $2.75, of course, for like a $6 or $7 postcard. Anyway, love the show. Keep up the good work.
I have never heard of that. I went to their website. It's lettertrackpro.com, but it redirects to letter-track.com. But what I don't understand is you were saying that once you get a tracking number for your first class, postage stamp envelope, you can't put that tracking into eBay? Because isn't that the whole point? Is so that people who sell postcards can give the person a tracking number and prove that it got delivered? I would love to know how it works with eBay. Because that's cool. Because, it's really annoying. You can't stick a tracking thing on a first class letter because the post office won't, they'll send it back to you in the mail. Nope.
Yeah.
I've tried it because I'm I thought it worked and it didn't.
Yeah. So. They are trying to upsell you because they want you to pay for the tracking,
pay for it.
How much is a stamp now? 50 cents or something?
It's almost 50 cents, but right.
I mean,
so
they're like, you got to pay more to get tracked.
It's right now for up to 4 ounces is $2.66 on eBay. So yeah, it's definitely expensive to send one postcard.
Right.
But this is interesting. I'm looking at it right now. It's letter-track.com.
So it's a private company.
I don't know how. Yeah, I need to read. They have like 4 paragraphs on the front of their page saying how it works. But that's interesting. Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. You can leave a question or a comment on a voicemail line. You can also email us a question if you record it on your phone. But that phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video showing what sold, how much it sold for, currently being brought to you by Stephen Schultz. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.